everyone, it's Emily with Elephant Shoe Corner, and today I'm going to be making 5 cards using one kit, and I'm using the Spellbinders card kit of the month for October called Sparkling Holidays, and it comes with all these stickers that you can use. The kit also comes with a 6x6 pad of patterned paper. There are, I believe, 20 different patterns in this pack, and you get 2 of each one. And some of them have a silver metallic in them. I really like this silver metallic wood grain. We'll be using that one on one of our cards. And then it has some gemstones. And then a stamp set. And these sentiments go with the dies that also come with it. You have Holiday, Cheer, Merry, and Christmas. And then there's a flower. And then you have those like leaves. So these are all dies, so you can cut out your own shapes with them. And then the kit comes with these die cut pieces. They come in a bunch of different shapes. You see an owl, you have stars, some reindeer, snowflakes, and then here's some adhesive. And then 10 envelopes and card bases. The kit also comes with 9 pieces of cardstock. One of those is a silver metallic that I'm using to cut out some Merry Christmas sentiments. And here you can see the word Merry got stuck in the die, so I just used my craft tweezers and I poke in all of the holes on the back, and then that pokes the sentiment right out. So you can see it comes out pretty easily after I poke them through. And then I use my craft tweezers to just get the other pieces out, like the Y and the 2 R's. And then you have the word Merry. And I'm using my Sizzix Big Shot to do all my die cutting. I happened to get this one from Stampin' Up! Several years ago. But you can buy a Big Shot on Amazon, or Spellbinders has a couple different. They have the Platinum 6 or the Platinum that are also die cutting machines. Now I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock down to size using my Journey Blooms paper trimmer. I'm cutting that down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that's going to fit exactly onto our card base. And here we have the stamp set from the kit that we're going to use. So I'm going to put my stamp onto my stamp block. And here I'm going to use the Fun Stampers Journey Whipped Cream ink. It's a white ink. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. And I'm going to try to do the shape of a Christmas tree. So I just do the very corner on the top, and I work my way down the cardstock. And each time I stamp a little bit more of the stamp onto the card to give it the look of the tree. Then I just work my way down. And I decided I wanted a fuller tree, so I'm going to go back to the top and start again and just add a layer and work my way down again. And you can see I have some holes at the edge of the card, so I'm just going to fill those in here. And now we have a white Christmas tree. And this ink is very wet, so you want to let it dry before you continue. So I'm just going to set that to the side, and we're going to come back to that later. One thing you want to make sure you do before you move on is clean up your work area. I have that white ink all over my glass mat, so I want to get that clean before we move on. Card number 2 is super simple. I used some pattern paper that came with the kit and cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I cut out my Merry Christmas using my Big Shot that I showed earlier. And I used the metallic silver paper for that. And then the other pieces are the die cut pieces that also came with the kit. So right now I'm using my Tombow liquid glue. And I'm going to use my makeup sponge applicator wedge to sponge carefully the glue onto the back of my words. So you want to just hold your word in place and carefully sponge the glue onto the back side. And you want to be careful not to move the word so you don't get glue on the front of the word. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to place it on my card. And I got these sponges, I think, just at Walmart. They were super cheap. I think I found them also on Amazon. You can get like 100 for like $8, so super cheap and easy. So now I'm putting the word Merry onto my card. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the word Christmas. I want to make sure that I put that down on a clean part of my workspace. And I'm going to apply the glue just like I did for the first word. Now I always make a huge mess when I'm doing this, and I don't normally have a whole lot of luck. I make a huge mess and then glue gets everywhere. So this is not my favorite technique, but I wanted to see how well it worked on these smaller words. And it worked pretty well on this, but I do show another technique. If you don't like this one, then there is another way, so I'll show that on another card later. So see, I have glue on my finger, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting that Christmas to stick down. So once I get my fingers free, I just put my stamp block on it and to hold it in place. So from there, I just need to glue down all of my die cut pieces. I have the reindeer and the stars and the banner. And that banner, if you can see it, it says Jingle All the Way. I thought that was kind of cute to go with the reindeer. So I'm going to glue down the star. And then everything else I glue down off camera just because I didn't think you needed to watch me glue down every single piece. So there's that, and once everything gets glued on, that will complete card number 2. Now for card number 3, I have cut out these pieces with the die cuts that were provided in the kit. And I'm going to make a wreath. And I use one of the pattern pieces of paper. And again, I cut that down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it will fit perfectly on the card base. And I put some glue onto my workspace, and I'm going to apply the glue the way I did in the last card. And I'm going to use my sponge. And I'm going to start with the word Christmas. I'm going to get that sponged up. And I'm trying to make less of a mess than I did on the last card, so we'll see if that goes well. And it feels early making some Christmas cards, but it is already the middle of October, so I need to get going on them, otherwise I will never get them out for Christmas. So to get myself in the mood, I watched a Christmas movie just over the weekend. I watched Trading Christmas. It's one of my favorite ones to watch to get me in the mood to make some Christmas cards, so I watch it every year. I'm a little bit late watching it this year. Normally I watch it in September. I take a day off just for me, and I stay home by myself and craft. It's kind of my therapy. We've had some struggles in our family, so I need my therapy. So I stay home and craft a couple days out of the year just by myself. So if that sounds like you, I totally get it. Now I'm going to glue up the word Merry and get that on the top of my card. And then this green color that I cut the Merry and Christmas out of, that was included in the 9 pieces of cardstock that came in the kit. And then the wreath, I used the same green that I used for the Merry Christmas. And then I used the metallic silver for the wreath. So those are the cardstocks. And then, like I said, the main layer is a part of the 6x6 pattern paper. And it's the wood grain. And that wood grain, I don't know if you can see it well enough in the video, but that wood grain is white, and then it's got the metallic silver in the wood grain too. So it goes together really well with the wreath. Now I'm going to use my sponge to just glue up the parts of the wreath. So I flip it over and glue up the back. And you don't need too much glue, you just need a little bit. So I laid out my wreath to start with, just so I knew where the placement needed to be. And now I'm going to glue down the first piece, and I'm just going to press down the half that I want to stick, because I'm going to want to put the second piece under it. So I'm going to take the silver piece and I'm going to glue this up. And then I'm going to slide it under the one I already glued down. And then I can glue down the rest of the green piece. So you just want to have enough space so you can slide the next one under. So I'm going to continue this around the wreath until they're all glued down. So here you can see I'm just sliding it down under that last piece I placed, and then I'm pushing that last piece I placed down to make sure it's completely glued down, and then I move on. And then I complete the wreath. I don't show all that because I think you've seen half of it. You're good. Now I need to glue my flowers. These flowers are a die that came with the kit as well. So I used the light blue, the pink, and the purple, and I cut 2 flowers out in each color, and then I layered those up on top of each other. And those 3 colors, those are also part of the 9 pieces of cardstock that came in the kit. So once I have those layered on each other, I'm going to glue the bottom. And I don't take my glue all the way to the ends because I want to be able to pop them up a little bit so the leaves are more dimensional. So I'm placing the purple flower here. And then I do the same with the blue and yellow. And as you can see, I'm flicking up the leaves to make it more dimensional. And then I have all of my flowers attached. And I wanted to add one more thing to this card, so I'm going to put gemstones in the middle of each of the flowers. So here I'm just using my fingers. They're awfully little, so it might be easier to use the tweezers. I use the tweezers on the next one. And then it just sticks right in the middle. So now you can see I'm using my craft tweezers to get the gemstone and the adhesive backing. And then I can easily place it on my card. Either way works, it's just up to your preference. I do love my crafting tweezers though. And that's the last gemstone. I love this card. I think it's my favorite of the ones that I make with this card kit. I love all the silver. And now we just need to attach it to the card base. This is one of the card bases that came with the kit. There were 10 card bases and 10 envelopes. So I'm using my advanced tape glider. And I'm gluing up the card base. Normally I would glue up the layer, but since I put so much on the layer, I didn't want to flip it over and glue it up, so I thought it'd be easier to glue the card base directly. And again, this was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it fits perfectly onto the front of the card base. And there you go, that's card number 3. For card number 4, we use another piece of pattern paper from the kit, and I want to cut that down again to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I want to be careful how I trim this because I want to show that kind of frame on the card. So this was a 6 by 6, and I want to cut it down to 5 1/2 right here. So I'm going to take off 1/4 from each side so I don't cut off too many of the little branches. And then once that's done, I'm going to flip it over and cut it down to 4 1/4. So I leave the frame of branches along the sides and then the top. And there we go, and that will fit perfectly onto a card base then, because now it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then we have these ornaments that came as part of the die cut pieces. So you can see there was a piece of cardstock stuck in the loop there, so I just used my tweezers to push it out. And I have my Merry Christmas that I die cut out of the metallic silver again. And then I glued all of that off of camera because you saw me glue a few Merry Christmases now, and I didn't think you needed to watch that one again. So then I just put it on the card base, and that's card number 4. Super, super simple, and I think it's really pretty. I love the almost pastel colors with the silver. I like that a lot. For card number 5, I'm going to use another piece of pattern paper from the kit, and like I said, that is 6 by 6. So I'm going to cut that down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 again, making it the perfect size to fit onto a card base. And this is my Journey Blooms paper trimmer. So I've got that cut down, and then I have my die cut pieces all picked out. I have 3 different trees and then a couple of stars. And I had die cut the words Merry Christmas in the metallic silver again. Then I'm just going to glue up all my trees. And then there are 2 different sizes of stars and 2 colors. So I just layered those on top of each other. I took the small one and put it onto the bigger one. And I attached that to the card. And a little bit of glue goes a long way. You don't want too much so it smushes out on the sides. I have a tendency to use more glue than I should because I'm always paranoid that it's not going to stick, but a little does go a long way. I just want to make sure everything's nice and stuck because I do generally sell these on my Etsy shop, so I want to make sure that they're not falling apart for the customer. So I try to make sure they're nice and stuck together. And you can see here a little bit of glue did come out, so I just use one of my clean sponges to wipe that up. And then it's good. So now I've got the trees glued on, I have the star glued on, and then I go ahead and glue on the Merry Christmas, and then there's 3 little stars that I glue on as well. And then I just adhere it to my card base, and then it's done. So that's card number 5. Super easy because most of those pieces just came with the set as die cut pieces. So the only pieces I had to cut out were the Merry Christmas. Now card number 6. I'm going to show you a different way to glue your Merry Christmas that I feel like works best for me and I think I get a little bit less messy using. I'm just going to use an adhesive spray. Normally I put this in a box because the spray does tend to go everywhere. So if it's in a box, you can spray your dye directly, and then I just pick it up with my tweezers and place it on the card. I didn't use a box this time because I wanted it to be easy for you to see. And then I use my tweezers and just apply it to my card. And I think this is the easiest way for me. So it's, again, up to your preference completely. And then using my tweezers, I get it placed exactly where I want it. And again, this is another piece of the 6x6 pattern paper that I'm putting this on. And I cut that down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 again. And here's my spray adhesive. It's just 3M general purpose spray adhesive. And then the flowers and leaves on this card are also just part of the die cut pieces that came with the kit. So this is another super simple card, and the Merry Christmas words were die cut from the pink piece of cardstock that came with the kit as well. So I go ahead and attach that to the card base, and card number 6 is done. And now for card number 7, I know it's a 5 cards 1 kit, but I couldn't stop creating. So for card number 7, I just used the scrap from the wreath that we made, that we cut out the dies. So this is just a piece of paper from the dies that we cut out earlier for the wreath. And I just decided to use that as a stencil to make my own background. So I have this going super speed so you didn't have to watch me do the whole thing. So I'm using Fun Stamper's Journey, Fresh Forest ink, and then I'm just using blending brushes that I got from Amazon, and I'm just carefully inking it up, and I'm just going randomly around the page. There's no rhyme or reason, and there's different shades because I go lighter on some of them and darker on some of them, and I just wanted that difference. I thought it made a really nice look to the card. So here's an example of a way to make your own pattern paper using not even a stencil, but just something you have die cut and it's just scrap. So I thought this was kind of fun. And then I go to the stickers to get a sentiment. And this sticker says, "May all your Christmas wishes come true." And I like that purple against the green branches. I thought that was nice. And then these flowers, again, just came as die cut pieces in the kit. And so I glued down the biggest flower. And then for the pink flower, I decided to use some of the 3D squares that came with the kit, just to kind of pop it up, give it some dimension. And then I went ahead and glued the other smaller white one under. And then we're going to go back to card number 1. We had set this tree aside to let it dry. So now that it's dry, I'm going to use my foam squares again. And I'm going to put them on one of the presents that came as part of the die cut pieces. And I'm going to just pop that up on my card. Again, it gives it a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to put that under the tree. That one's going to be standing straight up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue the next present. And I'm going to just stick it right next to that one. And then I'm going to go to our stickers. We have some stickers that have some dimension as well. So I have this sticker. It says, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." And then we have a cute little Christmas tree. So now this card just needs added to a card base, and then that's done. I'll show you one more time all of the cards we made today. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. Please also leave a comment and tell me which card was your favorite. You can find the links to the products that I used in my blog, and that blog link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.